Hi. So I recently hosted a friend over to watch the documentary Free Solo. It's about a rock climber who climbs El Capitan without any protection. And I thought to kind of have a little show and tell before the video. I got out all of my rock climbing gear to kind of show him some of the tools of the trade. So before I package it all up or sell it, I thought maybe I'd share with you about the climbing gear that I used over the many years that I was actively climbing. So here's the equipment. So we start with the shoes. The shoes have a special hard rubber on it, and it has an absolutely rock solid, inflexible sole on it. And the reason for that is that you only have these minuscule little edges in the rock to stand on. And so what you want to be able to do is just get a little bit of the edge of the shoe on a crack and suspend all of your weight on that. You lace them up super tight, almost to the point of being painful, but those are the rock climbing shoes. The harness obviously is for connecting to the rope. This is a chalk bag. So you carry chalk powder in the bag and dip your hands in when your hands get kind of sweaty or moist. This is an 8-ring. It's for belaying. So when your partner is climbing and you are anchoring that person, you run the rope through there in a special method, and that creates kind of a friction break. So that you can help control and hold the weight that's put on the line if your partner falls. This is my helmet that I used my entire climbing career. This little baby saved my life when I fell on Mount Whitney because I was wearing it, and I hit the side of the cliff a couple times as I dropped. And you can actually see here the dings that I got off of the mountain. So that would be my head rather than a helmet that took that. This is my rope. So ropes are about 165 feet long. And so when you hear people talk about the length of a climb being 5 pitches, a pitch is actually one rope length, or about 165 feet. So pitches can be shorter, based on just where you end up finding a spot to belay or secure your partner. But typically it's 165 feet. So this is called a rack. This slips over your shoulder, and you carry all of your equipment for connecting yourself to safety on the rock itself. So a bunch of extra carabiners here. These first things I'm going to show you are called nuts. All of the equipment here I'm going to show you has been designed to accomplish several things. One is to create a tension or a solid hold in a crack in the rock, through which then you can slip a carabiner in the other end and run your rope through that. But they're also designed to be easily removed and carried away with you after you cross or finish that part of the climb. Early rock climbing efforts in the 20th century up through the 1960s or so, they would, here's my climbing dog partner, hi Ryder, the climbers would use pitons, which are big metal nails that you nail into a crack. The problem with those, and the other thing is to use a bolt. So you literally create a hole of your own in the rock where there is no crack, and put in a piece that goes on a bolt that you can clip your carabiner into. So with those stay on the mountain, and the future climbers doing your same route would use that as protection. But a couple problems. One is after some amount of use, they might actually fall out. The other thing is that you're really destroying nature or creating something that's inauthentic, not cheating, but just not a purist view of climbing. So these are called nuts. You can see that it goes from narrow to wide, and so you'd slip that into a crack and it would hold in the crack. So that is big enough to hold your weight if you were to fall. So they come in different sizes and different numbers. This one's pretty tiny. I think you can even get some that are even tinier than that, but that's pretty how small they are. So those are nuts. The next thing I want to show you is a cam. So on a cam, focus. On a cam, you've got this serrated edge over here, and if you look carefully, in this case, cable that's going through the cam is off center. And so you place this into a crack, and as your weight pulls down on the cable, if you needed to do that, then it has a camming or locking action that makes the cam expand or be wider than where you slipped it in. And as you turn it, it kind of locks in, and the serrated edge helps you kind of make it less slippery. So you kind of organize your rack from small to big. So we'll show you a couple of the cams here. Here's some bigger nuts. I think we call these chocks. And so what's interesting about this is you can see that they're curved on both sides. It's also curved here. So you actually, that'll work with two different widths of cracks in the rock. The next that we step up to is a hexagon. So you can see in a hexagon it's actually six-sided, and you also can see that where the rope that's going through here is off center, because if we put it through a crack here and then apply pressure, it has a camming action like the cams, but that's for a really big crack. You can see how wide that is. So I've got a couple others. Here's a cam. Another hexagon. This tool here is what you use to get a nut or a chalk out of a crack when it's deep or it's been really kind of heavily squished into or locked into the crack. You need the ability to take it out. So your lead climber puts it in, and the following climber takes it out so that you aren't spending a lot of money leaving gear on the mountain. And finally, we have some runners. So these are just nylon web runners. So if you think about climbing, obviously the best thing to do is to climb straight up a crack and have the protection or hardware in that same crack. So if you fall vertically right in line with the piece, and your downward motion would have an effect of actually locking the hardware into the crack even more. Problem is, if your crack that you are using to secure you is here, and you're climbing over here by a foot or several yards, you're now off center, and if you were to fall, you take more of a pendulum swing, and that has a different kind of force on the protection in the rock, which may either remove that, or it may just cause undue friction as you're trying to climb here. It's dragging the rope. The rope has to kind of come over and back to follow your body. And so what you do is you put your protection in, carabiner each end, have that runner come out, in this case, probably about 18 to 24 inches, and then you create a low friction, low angle, nearly vertical path for your rope to go. So that's the end of the tour. I don't know that I'll ever have a chance to show this to you again, but I thought maybe you might enjoy seeing the rock climbing equipment.